Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is PUTERI binti BADARUDDIN, and today I'm gonna be sharing with you guys a story about the pandemic. So have you guys ever wondered about any kind of pandemic that has ever happened? There are so many causes on why pandemic occurs, and one thing that we all could agree on is we have been through one of it once, which was the coronavirus that was discovered back in 2019. It was scary, right? Thus, have you ever thought about any other pandemic that is even scarier? Well, let me share with you this one tragedy that kept me up all night. So this tragedy, it talks about one of the deadliest diseases, which is caused by the bite of an infected flea. And because of how unexpected the pandemic was, the history is quite intriguing. I can promise you that this history will either make you be at the edge of your seat or make your blood run cold. So I have been doing research on this tragedy for quite some time as it caught my interest. Therefore, I am rather knowledgeable about this topic, and I genuinely believe that you guys ought to be aware of it as well. So now I will be sharing with you guys about one of the most fatal pandemics in human history, the Black Death, which was a bubonic plague pandemic occurring in Europe from 1346 to 1383. So without wasting any more time, I am going to enlighten you about the harsh details about this tragedy. So firstly, I'm going to be introducing the Black Death. So how did the Black Death start? According to history.com, in October 1347, 12 ships from the Black Sea arrived at the Sicilian port of Messina, bringing with them the plague to Europe. The horrific discovery that the majority of the sailors on board the ships were dead, and the ones who were still alive were extremely sick and covered with black boils that oozed blood. So it is believed that it have been brought on by an infective fever carried on by the bacteria Yersinia pestis, which was most likely spread from rodents to people by the bite of an infected flea, which is from the rodent itself. So this one is very interesting, which is the Plague Doctor. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen the pictures already. So a Plague Doctor was a physician who treated victims of bubonic plague. Cities employed these doctors to treat sick people regardless of their financial situations, particularly the underprivileged who were unable to pay. So during the outbreaks, an attire was used, and it was designed to shield them from airborne illnesses, and it did afford wearers some protection. So the costume includes a leather cap, glass eye mask with a beak, a waxen linen robe, a pair of gloves, boot, stick to remove the clothes of a plague victim as well. So next, let's move on to the explanation of the conditions of the patients. So how exactly does the Black Death spread? So most people commonly acquire plague when they are bitten by a flea that is infected with the plague bacteria. However, direct contact with contaminated tissue or fluids while treating an infected or dead animal can expose human to the plague too, which was caused by transmissions. So additionally, when an infected person cough or sneeze, the bacteria may spread through respiratory droplets and will result in infecting others close proximity. So symptoms of the Black Death victim. Its initial symptoms include severe ache, pains, vomiting, diarrhea, and fever, also chills. So it will soon attack the lymphatic system, causing swelling in the lymph nodes. They will gradually experience the agony of enlarged lymph nodes that develop around the neck, armpit, your groin, skin. So eventually it will become sore and turn black. The infection may spread to the lungs or blood if left untreated. So furthermore, let me explain to you the effects of the Black Death. So there is two point of view of the effects, so the first one would be on the general public. It is estimated that the death rate was exceptionally high, with some areas experiencing death tolls ranging from 30% to 60% of the population, or even higher in some cases. This is because of the burn of plagues quick spread with the cities and towns with higher population of rats and rodents, crowded living conditions, and inadequate sanitation. So the second one would be the effects on the continent. So Europe had a sharp fall in population as a result of the Black Death, devastating death toll. Therefore, quarantine laws were implemented and attempts were made to improve hygiene and sanitation in some areas. However, it is ineffective due to the limited understanding of the causes of the plague itself. The doctors didn't manage to know. So finally, we have to reach the end of it, which talks about the final state of Europe. So how exactly is the Black Death handled? So according to the history.com itself, the doctor relies on crude and unsophisticated techniques such as bloodletting, boy langsing, superstitious practices such as burning aromatic herbs, bathing in rose water or vinegars, sanitation and quarantine. Also, isolation protocols were also implemented, but all were proved ineffective. So as doctors and caretakers attempted to treat plague victims using their customary knowledge, they were observed to be dying at alarming pace as well. So in addition, nothing they administrated seemed to be helping their patients. And there were also cases where individuals suspected being infected with the plague were isolated, expelled from the communities, even killed by mobs because they were panicked. So some communities resorted to extreme measures such as burning the infected house or just burning them at stake in attempt to contain the spread of the disease. So I'm going to talk about the survival as well. So in general, the survival percentage of those infected with the plague was low. Some individuals may have developed partial immunity after surviving the infection, making them, getting temporary protection from the disease. Thus, a rough estimated is that 25 million people in Europe died from plague during the Black Death. So I think the Black Death is generally considered to have subsided by the early 3050s, marking the end of the deadliest phase of the plague. Therefore, even after the bloodiest phase of the Black Death may have considered ended, plague outbreaks persisted continuously in Europe and other parts of the world for centuries thereafter. Scary, right? I can imagine if it happens now and we have to get through it. We could all be dead by then. And that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for your attention. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. So as for summary, today I first introduced the Black Death itself. I explained the condition of the patients. I also explained the effects of the plague. And lastly, I talk about the final state of the Europe itself alongside with the effects. So I truly hope that everyone found my speech early enjoyable. The best part of hearing my speech is that you get a lot of new information regarding this tragedy, saving you the trouble of having to look it out on your own. With any luck, I hope my speech will leave you with a lesson to always look out for yourself. So thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate that you took the time to be here and listen to me. Therefore, your willingness to lend me an ear means a lot to me. Thank you so much, everybody.